Hello Mila, hello Jack. Welcome to Storytime with Grandad again. Hello everybody else who's watching. This story is called Niels and the Giants. A man and his wife once lived in a tiny cottage right at the top of a high and windy hill. They had two sons. The older one, called Rasmus, helped his father mind the sheep all day. The younger son, called Niels, never helped out at all. He just liked to go out shooting. The shepherd's wife had always wanted to see the Pope. One day they set off to travel to Rome. On the first evening they came to a crossroads. As they were very tired, they stopped to rest. Father, mother and Rasmus lay down to sleep, but Niels climbed a tall tree to keep guard. After a while, Niels saw three giants come into the clearing in the forest. They made a fire and sat on the ground to eat huge chunks of meat. The giants were so big that their spoons were like spades, and their forks were as big as hay forks. Niels decided to play a trick on them. He fired his gun at one of the giant's forks, just as the giant was about to eat a piece of meat. Niels thought they could not see him. The bullet hit the fork, and the fork stuck in the giant's chin. "Ow!" shouted the giant. He looked up and saw Niels sitting in the tree. Before Niels had time to run away, the giant came crashing through the trees. "Any more tricks from you," he said, "and I'll stamp you into the ground. But you're just the boy we need to defeat our enemy, the king. You can go into the castle and help us capture his daughter, the princess. Every time we try to climb the high castle walls, the king's dog begins to bark. Then all the king's soldiers wake up again." "Yes," boomed another giant. "We have cast a spell on the castle to send everyone to sleep. But the spell won't work on the king's dog." When they arrived at the castle, Niels said, "But I can't climb up there." "Oh, yes, you can," said the giant. "I'm going to throw you up." Niels landed with a bump on the top of the wall. He looked down at the giants. "Hurry up," they shouted. "Shoot the dog, let us in." Niels decided not to help the giants. He didn't want to shoot the dog, which was nice and friendly, so he just gave it a pat to stop it barking. Niels peeped into the first room. He saw a huge sword hanging on the wall. Beside the sword was a golden cup with words around the top. The words on the cup said, "Whoever drinks this wine may use this sword to save the princess." Niels read the words. Then he picked up the golden cup. He drank a little of the wine. Then he tried to lift the sword. He pulled with all his might, but the sword would not move. Niels peeped into another room. He found the beautiful princess asleep in the bed. The giants must never capture her, he thought. So he ran back and drank all the rest of the wine. With one almighty heave, he pulled out the sword. "Now I'll go and see the giants," he said. The castle had two doors. One was very big and the other was very small. Niels could hear the giants shouting outside, "Let us in, let us in." When Niels saw the two doors, he had an idea. "I can't open the big door," he shouted. "You'll have to come in through the small one." Niels opened the small door. Then he hid around the corner, out of sight. As each giant bent down to come in, he chopped off its head with one blow. "Hooray!" shouted Niels. "I've saved the princess." Then he began to wonder if the king would be cross with him for using the magic sword. He ran out of the castle with the magic sword. He found his family, and they all went off to Rome. Back in the castle, the dog began to bark. This woke up the guards. They saw the dead giants. The king was amazed when he saw the sword was missing. He wondered who had killed the giants. "We must search every land for the brave knight who has killed the wicked giants," cried the princess. "I shall marry him." So the king's men built an inn where travellers could stay. A sign above the door said, "Anyone who tells the story of his life may stay here for free." Niels and his family walked on towards Rome. Soon they came to the Alps. The path was too steep, and their feet were cold. They turned around to go home. On the way back, they came to the king's new inn. Each one of them told his story. At first, Niels was shy. He did not want to say who he was. Then Niels showed them the sword. "Hurrah!" shouted all the king's men. "This must be the giant killer. Fetch the king and the princess." The sword was put back on the wall. Niels and the princess were married. From that day onwards, only friendly giants came to visit the king. The end. Bye-bye, Mila. Bye-bye, Jack. See you soon. Bye.